Bonjour and welcome to this week's French grammar lesson with me, Jennifer, your French teacher in the south of France. This week we're going to talk a little bit more about pronouns. And you know, every Tuesday I'm putting out a new grammar video to help you. So if ever you have recommendations, something that's been giving you trouble, just leave it for me in the comments below and I'll do my best to make a video just for you. This week we're going to concentrate on indirect object pronouns. So before we do that, let me just give you a little background in case you need a reminder of what an indirect object is in the first place. An indirect object is the person or the people in a sentence that something is being done to, or that something, they're the ones that something is being done for. All right? For example, if I say, I am talking to you, then you are the receiver of what I'm doing. You're the one I'm doing it to, so you're the indirect object. Or if I say, you are talking to me, then me is going to be the indirect object, okay? I'm going to give you a lot of examples, starting out by telling you what the indirect object pronouns are. We're going to work through using them in the present tense, in the passé composé, and in the futur proche, which, remember, is just the near future. We're going to use them with and without negation. So stick with me, and I'll make it as simple as possible for you. So if I want to say to me, for example, you are talking to me, then the indirect object pronoun is going to be me, and it's spelled just like me in English, so that's good, that's practical. Now if it's to you, then it's te, and if it's to him or to her, it's lui. Lui is used for him and her in this situation as indirect object pronouns. If something is being done to us, then it's nous. To you, if it's formal or plural you, then it's vous. Or to them, again, masculine or feminine, it's going to be LEUR, L-E-U-R. So I'd like to use the verb parler for all of my examples because parler is one of those verbs that's followed by the preposition à. When you're speaking to someone, you say, je parle à whoever it is you're talking to. Now, when you're identifying an indirect object in a French sentence, that person or those people will always be preceded by either à or pour, and those are prepositions. Now be careful because many times you have other kinds of prepositions that precede a person or people, and those are not situations that would merit using an indirect object pronoun, because they wouldn't really technically be indirect objects. Okay, so we're always going to be on the lookout for à or pour plus a person or people. So I start out with the simple present tense, and if I want to say, you are talking to me, I could be tempted to say, tu parles à moi. Well, à moi needs to be replaced with a pronoun, with an indirect object pronoun. And it would be me in that case. In fact, it's not correct to say tu parles à moi. You have to use the pronoun, so it's not really an option. You're not going to say tu parles tu parles me. Even though me is the indirect object pronoun, its placement is different in French. Rather than putting it after the verb, like we do in English, you're going to have to take that pronoun and put it up in front of the verb that has been conjugated. So in the present tense, and in this situation, it's the verb parle. So I'm going to say, tu me parles, and that means you're talking to me. Now if I want to say, I'm talking to you, rather than saying, je parle à toi, I say, je te parle. If I want to say, she is talking to him, then I say, elle lui parle. Another way to put that is, if I wanted to say, she is talking to Mark, elle parle à Marc. You see, there you have your preposition à, and it's followed by a person, Marc. So, à Marc is replaced with the pronoun lui, and you say, elle lui parle. Now, if I wanted to say, he is talking to Julie, il parle à Julie. But I can replace à Julie with lui. So, il lui parle. Now, what about if I want to use the indirect object pronoun us? You are talking to us. Instead of saying tu parles à nous, I replace à nous with nous, and I say tu nous parles are talking to you, plural or formal. Nous vous parlons. If I want to say I am talking to them, masculine or feminine, them is leur. So it would be je leur parle. So put another way, if I wanted to say I am talking to Julie and Marc, je parle à Julie et Marc. There's your indicator. You have à plus people, so you can always replace à plus people with the pronoun leur. Je leur parle. Now, something very important about pronouns, and not just these kind of pronouns, but any kind of pronouns in French, is that the pronoun that it is, the verb that the pronoun is coming right before, or that it's directly related to, the pronoun and that verb can't be separated for any reason. So if you want to throw in some negation, what you have to do is put the ne and the pas around the pronoun and the verb. So you have something like this. You are talking to me. Tu me parles. To make it negative, tu ne me parles pas. You see how that works? Now, hopefully that was simple enough for you. And by the way, at any point, if you want to see these examples written out for you, I've put them down in the description of this video, so you can just scroll down and have a look at those. Now, if you want to put these sentences in the passé composé, again, we're going to stick with the verb parler. Think about how you form the passé composé, right? You need a subject, then you need a helping verb, and for parler, what's the helping verb? It's avoir, and then you have to have a past participle. So the past tense form of the verb parler is parler with an E accent aigu on the end of it. So you talked to me. The you talked part without a pronoun is what? Tu as parlé. Now, what you need to do is throw in the pronoun. In this case, if it's me, then it's the pronoun me. And you need to bring it up in front of the verb that's been conjugated. So in the passé composé, the verb that's been conjugated is always going to be your helping verb. Sometimes it's avoir and sometimes it's être. In this case, with parler, it's avoir. So I say, tu m'as parlé. Tu m'as parlé. You see how that M-E becomes M apostrophe? You do that with me and te when they're followed by a vowel. That's the only time that you'll have to do that is with me and te. So don't feel like it looks strange or something like that. It's completely normal. Now, how do you think you would make that sentence, tu m'as parlé, negative? I told you before that the pronoun and the verb that it's directly connected to, in this case it's the helping verb, as, they can't be separated for any reason. So what you're going to do is take the ne pas and put them around the pronoun and the verb. So, tu m'as parlé in the negative becomes tu ne m'as pas parlé. So you have to put the pas after the helping verb and before the past tense form of parler, which is parler. All right? So you do that the same way with all of the different indirect object pronouns. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about, as I promised at the beginning of the video, is how to do this in the future proche, which is the near future. Remember that the near future is just when you use the verb aller plus an infinitive. So if I wanted to say, I am going to talk, then that would be je vais parler. Je vais parler. I am going to talk, or I am going to speak. And if I wanted to say, I am going to speak to them, which pronoun would I need? Well, them is leur. But watch how I do this. Je vais leur parler. You see where the leur comes? This time, when we're talking about the future proche, or the near future, you're not going to put the pronoun in front of the verb that's been conjugated. Why? Because when you have two verbs in a sentence and the second one is an infinitive, like in this case, the infinitive form of parle is parler, you have to put the pronoun in front of the infinitive, because that actually is the verb that the pronoun is directly linked to. Think about it. I'm going to talk to you. Who am I going to talk to? To you. Or actually, I think I said them. I am going to talk to them. Je vais leur parler. So if I want to make that negative, I'm just going to keep the verb aller negative, and it's going to look like this. Je ne vais pas leur parler. All right? So I hope that makes sense to you. There's a lot that you can do with indirect object pronouns, and if you want to try your hand at some more exercises, I've made a PDF file available for you here, and you can access that by clicking on the link below. And you know, you can practice it, and practice really does make perfect. If you want to try your hand at writing a sentence using an indirect object pronoun, go ahead, do so. I would love it if you would write that in the comments, and I always look at all of them. And so, voila. If you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please do so, because every Tuesday, as I mentioned, I'm coming out with a new video just to help you. And I also have a newsletter, and you can reach the link to that newsletter and sign up in the description to the video below. I put out a new video, a new newsletter every Thursday, and there's all kinds of good stuff in there. You can follow us on Facebook, all kinds of good things going on. And if you are interested in really taking a step forward with your French, and you would like to take some lessons with moi on Skype or Google Hangouts, we can do that too, because actually that's what I do. You can reach me at learnenglishandfrench.com. I'd be happy to hear from you. And until then, until next week, bonne semaine à tout le monde et à la prochaine fois. Au revoir.